You're now listening.
You're now listening to the Shameless Goat.
Listening to the Shameless Goats.
The Shameless Goat.
But the boy is bleeding. Y'all gonna do something?
I told you he fell over. Okay, he gets real drunk like this. He just... Look, he attacked me. He told me to get him some more alcohol, so I went down to the store.
Son, how old are you? Hey, you hear me?
He's drunk. He's not gonna be able to tell you. He's 19. He's my boyfriend. Can I please just take him inside? He's cold. This is just really embarrassing.
What you just heard was a clip from the Netflix TV series, miniseries on Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer, for those of you who don't know, was a serial murderer who killed all male. He killed about 17 people. He was finally convicted of murder in 1992, I believe. And the Netflix series goes into how he actually escaped murder and how he got away with it for so long. That clip in particular was a 14-year-old boy who, ironically, his older brother was recently molested by Jeffrey Dahmer. And Jeffrey Dahmer offered him some money to come over, take some pictures. But what ended up happening was Jeffrey drugged him, and then he got caught going into his apartment by one of his neighbors and the neighbor's girls. Now, the neighbor and those girls calls the police, and then that's what you hear. With me today, we got Peter.
Yo.
We got Lil Big Mike.
Yo.
Big Lil Mike. So, yo, just that clip alone, tell me what y'all think, because we all watched it.
For sure.
It's fucked up, like how it wasn't immediately known to the police officers that was a teenager. Or what, 14 years old, and I think that's an adult?
14-year-old young man, yep.
There's no way they couldn't understand that's a child.
Yeah, the two police officers that came, there were two white male police officers. The neighbor who I mentioned earlier was black, and of course her kids are also black.
Glenda.
Jeffrey Dahmer is white, and the boy had on no clothes but I believe underwear. So you have a naked boy outside with an adult male and trying to go inside his apartment. The neighbor called the police multiple times on Jeffrey, and in this instant, she's asking the police, well, could you at least identify the little boy to make sure that he is of age? Jeffrey,
simple, as
you heard, it was saying that he was drunk, and the boy didn't look drunk. If you've watched that Netflix show, you would know that he looked incapacitated.
His eyes were all glazed. He was not there.
Yeah.
He wasn't there anymore.
That young man's name is
like
Conrad.
Synthesomphone.
May he rest in peace, of course, and I apologize if I butchered his name. And yes, he was a 14-year-old young man who was killed at that time. This would have been in 1989. So I could imagine, at the end of it, the cops were just like, "Oh, just let him go. That's just some gay shit happening."
Exactly.
So, this is...
Oh, yeah, because they went back to Dahmer's apartment and he showed them pictures that he took of the kid. And they're like, oh, he got these gay pictures. Maybe they've been having some gay activity, but they didn't know he takes pictures of his victims before he kills them.
Right.
At the time, Jeffrey happened to be on probation for molesting that boy's older brother.
Oh, shit.
So,
that's why he was on...
Right.
Yeah.
So had they looked into Jeffrey, just himself, just take a little background check, like, see, who is this person, Jeffrey Dahmer?
Wasn't he acquitted on the brother's case? It was probation?
He was on probation at the time.
Probation.
Oh, shit.
But, we could even... Okay. There's a lot there with the brother. So if anyone has watched it, Netflix, 10 episodes, great shit. He sees this guy, Conrad, at a liquor store. Conrad is like, yo, didn't you molest my brother?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah. You want some beer?
No, he said your brother was lying.
Oh, your brother was lying. All right.
He said, oh, I gave him money, and then he goes and spread these lies about me, and it's like, nigga, don't you believe your own brother?
One. And then he was like, So the kid Conrad was like, "Yo, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show him. My brother only asked for 50. I'm gonna ask for 100.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Like what?
There was no sense in that.
Yeah,
There was
young
no
and
sense in that.
stupid.
It was dumb in that, and that's where we told a line because you don't want to victim blame.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't want
Yeah.
to victim shame because at the end of the day, even if he is being unwise in that scenario, which he was, you can't. He has no idea who Jeffrey Dahmer really is.
Yeah,
that's right.
What he's capable of. He might even think he can defend himself against him if all he wants to do is molest him. That might be what's going through that little boy's mind.
Yeah.
And not knowing he's about to get drugged and he's about to get killed and he's about to be eaten.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, how did he have so many male victims? Because he doesn't look strong, but...
You know what I think it is? It's like...
Though he drugs them.
He drugs them, but
drugged them.
Even before that, like, just
Date
imagine
rape.
Jeffrey Dahmer, just how difficult it is for us men to go to a club to pick up women to come home that night. Jeffrey did it with success.
Yeah,
you know
he,
what I mean?
probably
Like,
got some game.
there was a point where he was doing, like, I think I looked in June or July of 1991. He killed like 6 people in 3 months.
Damn.
So he was bringing back like 2 men a month.
Yeah.
He must have got some game.
He has game.
You know what I mean? Like,
Or I mean, some of those gay people probably thirsty. They need some attention. Maybe they don't get no attention.
Peter,
I mean, he might have game, right? I don't know.
It's touchy. That's crazy. It speaks to the feeling that the police had, because the feeling that the police had is, well, this is something that this belongs in the gay community. We don't know nothing about the gay community.
Oh yeah, they had the HIV/AIDS at the time going on, and they know nothing about
This
AIDS.
is the early '90s, the late '80s.
Gay people dying all the time.
So
because even when those cops left, they didn't just do a report. They went and took a shower.
Yeah,
they went and took a shower. All they did was see that there's some gay pictures, and then they went and they wanted to take a shower. I guess they didn't know how you contract HIV at the time, and they were scared or something.
Definitely like late 80s, early 90s. A lot of ignorance about HIV and AIDS. You remember when Magic Johnson announced he had HIV? If you remember in the All-Star game afterwards, nobody wanted to play defense on him. Because they thought the sweat would,
give them AIDS.
They let him score all the points. He won MVP and all that shit. So, and that's part of the reason why he retired too. Like some of the pressure, a lot of the ignorance, So,
which is true, but that doesn't absolve them.
That
doesn't absolve them. The cops,
yeah.
Because at the end of the day, what you even if that is his boyfriend, let's say he's telling the complete truth that is his boyfriend. What you do see is a very young-looking boy,
right,
who's naked and outside, and you have no identification or proof of what this person is saying. This is a random human being. So let me get this person's ID. If I don't have that person's ID, you know what? I have to take them. You're the police officer. I think a part of the police officer's job is to protect and to serve. So I think a part of protecting and serve should be, I need to take responsibility for this person's life.
Yeah,
and I need to take this person away from this other person who I also have not identified.
They did a terrible job. And even with Jeffrey Dahmer's in general, Glenda called the police on them so many times. There was one time she said, I mean, not just the smell. She said, I heard someone screaming. I heard someone screaming. I heard a thud, and then the screaming stops. That's at least you go knock on the door. You can go knock on the door to the apartment and at least check. Like, I heard a guy screaming. I heard a loud crash, and then the screaming stops. And they didn't even go check. She called all the time about this guy.
She probably thought he was, climaxing or something. I mean, they're having a wild time out there. You know what I'm saying?
When you watching the series, she's obviously super concerned that there's something really messed up going on here, which makes me wonder about the process of the cross-referencing they have with the police. If somebody calls the police a multitude of times, you would think that it's like, okay, this person keeps calling about this person. At some point in time, we need to take this seriously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, to me, and this happened this is like in the 80s. This is in the 90s. This is not 30, 40, 50 years ago. You know what I mean? Well, yeah, it is actually more than 30 years ago, but it's not 50 years ago. It's not the 70s. It's not the 60s.
Didn't that movie? It takes place in Detroit.
Milwaukee.
Oh, Milwaukee, right?
Milwaukee, yeah.
Yeah.
Poor area in Milwaukee.
I think that was part of the reason, like, just because of that, because it's a poor area. So, of course, the classic, like, you know, police are underserving these communities. It's a lot of, hey, this is wrong. They're like, oh, we'll get to it. It's crime infested anyway.
They're like, crime and drugs always happening over there.
It's crime, drugs, and I guess a gay area as well. It's like, oh, we really don't give a fuck.
They really don't.
Like, if gay niggas dying, oh, well, that's how they felt, you know.
I think that's exactly how they felt. Now, how do we get here? Like, so the series begins with him as a child, and you're seeing the dynamic between his mom and his dad.
Yeah.
His parents do not get along whatsoever.
Right.
They should never have made a child, but that happens, right? Like you said, they don't get along at all.
Jeffrey Dahmer, like, you know what I mean? They got another kid. That kid is
Daniel or David or the other child.
Now he changed his name, so nobody knows anything about
him. He should.
Yeah.
You don't want to call yourself Dahmers no more.
I know, right? Like,
Yeah, I wouldn't want to.
Even the wife, the ex-wife, she changed her name. She changed it from Dahmers to whatever, Glenda, something different.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah, she changed her name after she. But like the father, he was so concerned, and I think he had a good concern because he's like, his ex-wife is taking so many pills while she's pregnant. Is any of that going to affect my child? And I don't know. Maybe that's a legitimate concern. You don't think so?
He brought that up. He said that. He accused her of saying, he accused her taking a whole bunch of drugs probably contributed to him having something wrong with his head. And I don't think that's fair whatsoever.
Yeah, that's.
But you don't think that has an effect?
Nah,
we don't know.
Yeah, I think that like she was taking things, I guess, for her mental state, right?
Right.
I think that stigmatizes like mental illness, and I don't think there's any proof that.
But not just
taking
because
pills.
he said she was taking like 100 pills. That she take 20 a day and shit.
Again, I don't think that would affect any like passing down to your trait, because people now who are depressed, who are pregnant, take antidepressants, take antipsychotics.
But
their kids are fine.
How many drugs? He was saying she's taking too many drugs.
Yeah, he's exaggerating. He has no idea. You know what I mean? Like he said 100 or 20. That, you know, he's saying it's probably just one too many, maybe. But there's still no evidence that would. Again, this is the 90s. This is not too long. Oh no, this is actually the 70s. When
now that's the 70s. Yeah.
So maybe, but I don't think that wouldn't cause, you know, that in that sense. You know.
And at the end, for spoiler alert, at the end, the dad talks about how when he was young, he had similar thoughts to Jeffrey Dahmer. So now that throws out his whole accusation of, well, yeah, you were taking a whole bunch of pills, and this contributed to our son. You left and abandoned us. You abandoned our son. They talked about this.
That's a big problem.
That is a big problem. But they talked about this one summer in particular, and in that same summer, so did he.
He was gone.
He was gone too, and his ex-wife checked him on that. It was like, yo, you're talking about your ex-wife not being there, but where were you? And he got silent. He was hurt. And then it was like, where were you?
Where was he that summer? Do you know?
He was working.
What type of job he had that he was never home?
Yeah, I always had a question about what kind of job he had. I was interested in that because when he was trying to have a relationship with Dahmer, the thing that he took interest in, or that Dahmer took interest in, was playing with roadkill. And so they were
crazy.
They were dissecting the roadkill. What do y'all think about the whole dissecting of the roadkill?
Just to answer that, he was an American chemist and writer. He was a research chemist. The dissecting of roadkill, I think, is very weird.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that pushed Jeffrey over the edge.
I mean, he started dissecting human beings years later.
Yeah. You know what I think it is? I think, like, anytime you pass something to your children, whatever it is, like say one of your habits or whatever, say it's like basketball. You like basketball growing up, and you were just good enough to make the high school team, which is still more than most people, but you made the high school team. I feel like your kid is going to kind of take that and know that, okay, my dad made the high school basketball team,
so I got to take another
I'm going to try to get to college. I'm going to use everything he gave me and then adapt it to this current generation and excel. So I think Jeffrey was like, he just thought, like, I'm going to just give my son this, this little pastime that I did. You know what I mean? Jeffrey was like, oh, nigga, I'll show you something.
I
took it to the next.
I don't know if that's because he was a little kid. I don't know if that's an appropriate pastime to teach a child. But also in his defense, the father's defense, the son was weird. He didn't have any interest. This was something he finally was able to connect with his child on because he's never been able to connect with Jeff on anything. The boy's a little weird. So I don't know. He was, to me, the dad really tried. He really cared and loved his son, and he just couldn't save him.
Yeah.
I think in and of itself, teaching him how to dissect roadkill isn't bad.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the problem is, one, there was no purpose to it. I think if you're going to show him how to dissect the roadkill, I can see if it's in the context of hunting, the context of, I think that's it. Roadkill in particular, I think it's in the context of hunting, maybe trapping animals, maybe using the parts of the animals for fishing. I think those things make sense. Skinning the animal to use the animal's skin or fur
for furniture, for clothes,
for furniture, for clothes, for some type of materials. And then I think what he was also missing is teaching his son the value of life. That these aren't just things. That you can't just take anything that you want, dissect it, and play with it like it's just something for you to have fun with. You need to be able to honor the life that you kill. Even us today,
like Native Americans.
Correct, but even us today, in any food we eat, for us in particular who may be Christian, you pray over your food. Yeah. And then, like you said, in the Native Americans, they honored the kill because this animal sacrifices life for you to eat. Not to be funny, but to take it to Lion King when Mufasa is explaining to Simba the circle of life. Yeah, we eat the gazelle, and when we die, we go into the earth, and then the gazelle, we fertilize the grass, and then the gazelle eat the grass. It's a circle of life. I think there was no meaning or purpose or value into what he did. And that's what makes it wrong.
He was just trying to connect with his son because his son was just weird.
Got you.
Just a weird child.
And again, I respect that. There's nothing wrong with that.
I agree.
But it has to have a purpose. It has to have a meaning. Like basketball, basketball
teach you sports, discipline, aggression,
competitiveness,
controlled
competitiveness. Yeah.
It's a team sport. You get to learn how to socialize. That gave him.
I like playing 21, nigga. We don't need no teams here.
Hey, but at least it teaches. It gets you in shape. It teaches you to focus. It teaches you to learn things. It teaches you to overcome things, to get better at things. But dissecting of the roadkill, to me, it just served no real purpose.
All right. So then, with that sense, then, who do we blame for Jeffrey?
Jeffrey.
Only. Oh, I guess let me give it another way. Since we're speaking about the parent and the father, do we lay any blame to the father?
Yes.
Okay.
To me, I think
both parents.
I don't think
the dad.
I don't think it's one person.
Tried, man.
Yeah, you could try, but you could have tried harder. You could have did better. I don't think it's one person. I don't think say it's only the dad. It's only the mom. It's only Jeffrey.
But when you blame the dad, what would you blame him for?
Or what percentage or what? Yeah, for what?
I don't think I don't know if that you could put a value to it.
But what would you blame him for? I would see no blame for him.
I would blame him. One, he did not spend enough time with Jeffrey. He did not talk to him.
You think dissecting wasn't spending time?
No, because it is spending time, but it was incomplete. He didn't show him the value of life or the purpose of dissecting. He just gave him anything to play with, and now in Jeffrey's mind, he had no value into that thing. He just saw it as a thing and not a living. This thing once lived.
Yeah.
And now you're just dissecting it for the fun of it.
I mean,
the boy had anger issues, so now you have anger issues. Yeah. You take those anger issues.
So I'll blame the father for this. The amount of times he had these arguments in front of the son with the ex-wife.
Yeah, that was unhealthy.
That's not healthy for the children. Y'all can go behind closed doors. Y'all can put the kids to sleep and go to the other side of the house.
Yeah.
But all those, I think that's where he got a lot of the anger issues from. All that, as a kid. Seeing the parents screaming and arguing like that all the time, that's not healthy.
But it be like that though, because there's plenty of households where parents argue in front of their children, and niggas is not serial murderers.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? That, yeah.
Yeah.
But I do agree. I think the dad, you know what I think? Like, what do you guys think about this statement? Whatever I am or am not is because of my parents.
Not
That's
whatever.
bullshit. You gotta take responsibility for stuff.
I think it's some.
To a certain point, man. Once you're an adult, fuck it. Even if your parents are trash, you got to take personal responsibility, raise yourself, make your own decisions, and fix your own life.
But by that time, they've raised you already. You can't, like, your habits, your behavior is either because of or against what they instilled in you.
Yeah, I mean, if you need some therapy, if you didn't get love, whatever, you got to fix yourself. You can't keep blaming your parents and going to the past and not fixing yourself. It's nobody's fault. At some point, you got to take personal responsibility and fix it.
So I take what you say, but I think that that's also incomplete. You do have to take responsibility for your own actions, but that does not mean that your parents didn't play a role in the person that you are.
Yes, I agree that they play a role in it, not the complete. You know what I mean? No, but they have an influence on you. If they weren't together, not together, because that doesn't really matter much. But if they weren't involved in your life, you didn't have a father. Well, maybe not a mother. At least two parents. I think you need two parents, man and man. Whatever. That's a whole other thing. But having two different parenting figures, role models that you can, adapt their behavior or reject said behavior, for example.
Right.
I think that's important too. So, but yeah, and them niggas wasn't there. The old girl was out of her mind. Like, she was saying like aliens is coming or some shit like
Oh
that.
yeah, but
so
later you find out that she had postpartum depression, and it's just that I didn't know. I mean, apparently it can last a long time because Jeffrey wasn't a little boy anymore. He was growing up. I mean, how long are you gonna be depressed for? I mean, if you're depressed, but take care of yourself. How long does postpartum depression last? He was like, was he 10 at some points when the early scenes, because he's in elementary school and stuff? How long you gonna have? I don't want to blame you. You got to fix it. How long you gonna have postpartum? I don't think she knew about it at that time, though. I don't think she knew that she had postpartum depression. I don't even know if she knew her condition. She thought she was normal, but at some point, you got to fix it.
Yeah, postpartum depression or whatever it is that she had or whatever it is that she was going through. Yeah, I think all of those things are a valid thing to have, but I don't think it absolves her from abandoning her son. At the end of the day.
That is crazy.
That scene when she left, she was like, "You don't want me anyways."
She just
left.
Yeah, just
up and
there's
left.
soup on the stove. How the fuck you just leave?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
How you take his brother, you take his younger brother and just leave? That's why he's fucked up. You take his brother and you leave. You're the mom and you leave. And how do you just? That I'm sure that contributed to his mental health problems.
I think both of them contributed. Another thing that the dad did when he was older, and then they were sitting in the restaurant, him, the dad, and the stepmom, and he wanted to talk to the dad about his feelings.
Oh yeah.
And his dad, he felt it coming on,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Nah, I'm not having this conversation."
That's true, and I can see that happening to, especially that this would be like the early '80s, I would imagine. Like, niggas like, hey man, tell that to your mom or some shit like. Tell that to somebody else.
Keep it. He was like, keep it on the inside.
Yeah, keep it on the inside.
Keep it on the inside.
Yeah, he started talking to him like, "I'm gonna get you into college." He just switched the conversation and stuff. That wasn't good.
I think the dad,
that wasn't good at all.
I think the dad, he tried though, man. He was like,
I do think he
I'm gonna try
tried.
to get you into college. I got you into college to Ohio State.
Yeah, he had a 0 point something GPA. I never heard of a GPA that long. A 0.4.
That's F.
That's F.
That's
I
all
never.
Fs.
I didn't even know it can go that low. I never heard of that.
That's really you just like, you skip class and you failing at skipping class. Like,
Damn.
you really fucking up.
Like, I mean, getting below a 2 is hard. Getting 1 point something is hard. How do you get 0.4?
That's really fucking up. And
Woo!
Then, so the dad tried the army, tried all kind of shit.
Yeah, he
like,
put him in the army, and then, because he drugged someone in the army, right? And then they had to kick him out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and
He
the
just
old boy
fucked up
tried.
his own life.
The old boy
He's just a
tried,
fuck
man.
up.
If I was an old boy too, I'm gonna ride for my kid all the way until. But the serial part, nah.
You on your own, buddy.
you on your own.
Should the father have cut off his relationship with the son at some point?
No.
No. You know your son is.
You don't
like,
cut him off?
this
Even
nigga's
after he
sick.
kills 17 people?
Oh, at that point, it's too late.
No, but do you cut off your relationship and just like disown him?
No.
You don't disown him?
Nah.
17 bodies? Well, you need 20, 30?
No, you go to jail.
He's already in jail.
Yeah, you're in jail
So you
forever.
never disown him?
He's in jail.
He's in jail already. You can still
That's it.
visit him. Yeah,
He's going nowhere.
But I'm saying disowning him and just cutting off your relationship completely, just fucking living a new life. You never do that?
No, he's going nowhere. After 17 that bodies, where are you going?
To me, it's like I could, as long as you have some kind of, resolve, like some absolution, like, damn, I fucked that up. Yeah, you fucked that up, nigga. Mm-hmm. So you're gonna be here for a while. Forever. I'm gonna come see you every so often.
What was it? Yeah. How many years? They gave him like 200 years or something
consecutive
like
that. Consecutive life sentences.
Jesus Christ, he's never getting out.
He was never getting out. There was no parole. There was nothing.
Yeah, I'm gonna come see you every so often, but nigga, this is where you at.
This is where you at. Yeah, you got to make your peace with that. He's in jail forever.
That's it.
But what you would want, you would hope that is there some saving him, and I want to get to that.
Oh, he did get saved.
Exactly. So towards the end of the series, he speaks to a reverend, and he talks about being saved and will Jesus forgive him? And the way that the reverend answered that question, he talked about Christ being on the cross and being on the cross with two criminals. Yeah. And one criminal was saying, well, if you're Jesus or you're the Christ, then save us.
Yeah, save yourself.
Then the other one was like, yo, shut up. He's the Christ. And he told Jesus, remember me when you get to paradise. And Jesus said, got you. Yeah. Pretty much, I got you. And the point was that he was making to Jeffrey is, yes, you can be saved. And so Jeffrey decided to be baptized. He admitted to all his crimes, and he even wanted the death penalty, and he wanted some kind of absolution, like, or whatever that was, whether I'm paying a penance, which is he couldn't get because there was no death penalty in whatever state he was in. But he did get baptized, and for him, he wanted to go to heaven. He believed that, based off what the reverend said, that he could go to heaven. Now, what do y'all think about that?
Yeah, I think
damn. After 17 murders, you just get baptized, and that's all. That's it.
I think ultimately, there's only one judge. We're all Christians, so we all have the same kind of belief system. So.
Damn, that's too easy.
God got to do that. That's, you know what I mean? Like, if that's the end goal is if you're saved and salvation, you can make it to heaven, you accept Jesus Christ, your personal Lord and Savior, and, ask for forgiveness of sin, and then repent, you die.
Had he not been killed and he would have lived 30 more years, then he could have had 30 more years of not doing anything and living a good life, and then presumably he could have been a much better person.
Yeah. So that, I mean, if it was me, I'd be like, God, I don't know about this one, boss, but that's the boss. So it's only like, God can only God can judge you.
Only God can judge you
all the time. It's like,
lucky.
Yeah. I mean, you got it. If you got it, you got it. What can you, what can you
17
do?
bodies?
17.
That they found? What, there were more?
That's right. Oh,
there might have been more.
That was, he told them everything he remembered.
Yeah.
So he
but he also drank a lot. He ain't had a good memory.
Exactly. He said what he remembered.
He could only remember 17.
Exactly. He said what he could remember.
What if it's 24?
It might be, but he said what he remembered.
Yeah. I mean,
so he did try. In fairness, he did cooperate with the police.
Yeah, because he didn't even remember the names of a lot of the victims. The police had to remind him the names and like, hey man, these were actually people.
You're right.
These were people that you killed. These people had families that loved them. You had the kid who was deaf.
Correct. Yes. Tony Hughes is exactly what
Tony.
I was thinking about. That's one victim I think really stood out.
They really showed his family life a lot, how he grew up.
That one
stood out.
They personalized that a lot.
Stood out.
Yeah, that one stood out because the relationship, the way Netflix kind of described it was like Jeffrey wanted a relationship with somebody, anybody.
Right.
And he got one. This guy, Tony, deaf, fucking loved this man. Handsome young man, 22?
24?
24, yeah. 31, actually.
Oh, 31?
31 when he died, yeah. And, they fucking, he still killed him. He just couldn't help
the way they depicted, though, he had a relationship with Tony for a while. Yeah. And then Tony, what it seemed like Jeff suffered from is detachment. Some people, they struggle when somebody leaves your life. Because a lot of those victims, he kept the bones. He didn't want them. He didn't want to know the detachment.
Yeah, he had the most extreme version of separation anxiety
Yeah.
I have ever.
Yeah, separation anxiety.
Like,
he really struggles with that.
It was why I recall while watching that part, I was like, okay, he not finna kill this one. He not finna kill this one.
He said I'm gonna be back next week.
He's exactly.
Yeah, nigga, I'm gonna see you next weekend.
And so y'all remember when he tells him he's gonna leave, Jeffrey don't want him to leave, and so he's in the living room and he comes with like a
notepad.
He comes with a hammer, and it's behind his back, and then Tony consoles him and is like, "Yo, I'm finna be back," and then Jeffrey lets him go. But then Buddy comes back into the house saying that he forgot something.
He left something.
And then for whatever reason, Dahmer just snaps and it's just like, you know what? Nah.
Oh, yeah, he played the game. It was a game board that Dahmer's created, some board game. And then he said, if you roll the dice and you're next to me, you go to the vortex. And that means you got to die.
Stupid ass game.
Why would you play a game that someone says you roll the dice? If your piece comes next to my piece on the board, you go to the vortex.
He made the game.
Yeah, he made.
No, I'm saying I wouldn't play the game.
No, I mean,
and then Tony,
I wouldn't play that with you.
And then Tony changed the game. He said we don't have to. We make our own rules.
Right.
I remember that. And so to me, when that scene happened, I thought that there was going to be some kind of switch in Dahmer, at least for this one.
Right.
But if somebody had a board game,
yo, you keep
maybe
going.
Russian roulette or whatever, they say if this happens, you gotta die. Are you even playing the game? Fuck the rules. Oh, let me change the rules of the game.
Exactly. That's why he did not play it.
Like,
they did play. He rolled the dice, and then his piece got next to Dahmer's piece.
And then he cut it off.
He cut it off.
He
Yeah,
said,
like,
But that's it. Once they're next to each other, that's when you go to the vortex and you gotta die.
Yeah, no, but yeah, Tony is like, nigga, no.
Yeah,
These
exactly.
rules are stupid. Because
These rules
there's
are
plenty of
dumb.
times, like, I don't know if you ever there's plenty of times you roll a dice with, let's say, a young lady. Like, if I roll a 6, you gotta take your pants off. It's like, all right, this don't really make a lot of sense, but I'm gonna do it anyway. We're just gonna play.
It ain't murder, man.
So maybe he just thought like, all right, we just gonna.
But he said you got to go to the vortex.
Maybe
what is the vortex?
Maybe that's something like.
That's where people go to die.
Maybe the vortex is like his asshole.
No, but he explained that the vortex is where you go to die. He explained it.
I don't know why you stuck on this.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't
No,
know.
because it's a fucking. Would you play a fucking board game when someone says if you have a chance of dying, you have to die if this happens?
To answer your question very simply, no, and that's why Tony changed the rules of the game.
You're right. And
Well, it didn't work out very well for him, did it?
We can't play like Monday morning quarterback. Like, damn, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have gone to his house. I wouldn't.
Oh,
have
you
done
know,
that.
I played a game like that. Wasn't it the Bloody Mary? Is that the one, or which one? It's something you turn off the light and you say the person. It's Candyman. Growing up,
Peter has
you said the name in the mirror.
Literally nothing.
Yeah.
It's a game you play. They say somebody's supposed to come kill you.
Right.
Bro,
But
I
that's
don't know.
not what
Yeah,
I'm
I don't know how you got there.
Candyman.
What I'm saying
I got
is,
that, but
we
I don't know how
can't-
you're getting there right now.
What I'm trying to say is, when we watch it, we can't be like, damn, that was dumb. That was dumb. How could he do that? How could he do that? Why did he do that? You know what I actually think though? Why we watch all these like Jeffrey Dahmer, John Wayne Gacy, all these serial killer docs. I think we have, all of us in America, in the world, have like a fetish with trauma and death, right? Like when somebody dies, what's the first thing you ask?
Why did they die? How did they die?
How did they die? And I think we want to ask that to make sure we don't make the mistake they did. You know what I'm saying? So when you're watching, like, say somebody dies of a whatever it is, I don't like drunk driver, for example, right? Like, damn, okay, he was driving drunk. Well, I can see how that could happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You know what I'm
I think we want to rationalize.
we want to
it.
rationalize it.
We want to
And then-
rationalize
but
it.
also like self-preservation. Like, all right, damn, he did that. All right, let me.
I shouldn't drink and drive.
Well, not drink. Well, that's something that's on my mind. Like, all right, damn, I won't. Fuck that up. So when Tony's like, damn, how would I roll the dice? I ain't gonna play that game. I would have went to his house. I ain't getting $50 for a picture. I'm not drinking. Oh, I'm not. When he saw the fucking Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Oh, look, fizzy. I'm not drinking that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's why this show I think is so popular. How could this nigga kill 17 men?
Yeah.
And you can see why.
And you see why. And the reason or the answer to that question to me is the inability of the police officers. The police completely messed this one up.
And then the police union, even after it showed a good job of the blue line because the police chief wanted to fire them.
Yeah.
And then the mayor wanted stuff to happen also because the mayor had pressure. And the chief couldn't fire them. The most he did was a suspension. And they tell the chief, we're going to have our jobs back. We're going to be here much longer than you. And the union helps those cops get their jobs back.
And they got an award. They got cops of the year.
They got an award.
They got cops of the year.
Crazy. What the hell? That's just terrible, man.
But
I just hope that this. What I hope is that for white America who don't, I hope no one has a situation like this. Yeah. But for people who don't have situations like this, I hope by watching this, they can understand other people's situations and how rough it can be for some other people in the country.
Yeah, it seems like nothing has changed. Like, I didn't know much about Jeffrey Dahmer until I watched this series.
Yeah.
I, for whatever reason, assumed that this took place in the 70s or the 60s. I didn't realize how close in time it was. I didn't realize we were alive when he got sentenced.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's so wild to me that the police, for real, it's just y'all are the same police.
It's the same police. Union, always protecting them. Yeah, even if they fuck up.
Even when this kid from New York, Amadou Diallo, got shot. He was going to his apartment. 4 police officers shot him. He was reaching for his wallet, and they shot him like mad times, maybe over 100 times.
Whoa.
All 4 of them got off. And all 4 were celebrated. All 4 got their jobs back. You know what I mean? It's the same kind of...
When did that happen? Is that recent also?
No, 1999. Maybe.
Oh, 99?
So, sure, recently. Within the last, let's say, 25 years. But same kind of thing. It's just like with the police.
I mean, you see that shit all the time.
That's regular shit. That didn't even really move me.
Now, another reason why some people think that Jeffrey was able to get away with this is because most of the victims were black and obviously they were gay.
Yes.
What do y'all think about that?
I say there's a lot of... It's a good argument because you see the 14-year-old Asian kid, his family got involved immediately. They got him arrested. But I don't know if some of these people... I mean, the deaf kid, he had a good family, a good support system, but maybe the cops just don't believe him. I don't know. Because they didn't arrest.
And do you think that's because they're black?
Yes.
Now, do you think Jeffrey particularly went after black people? Like, why do you think?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think once he realized that, oh shit, I'm in his neighborhood and shit kind of easy.
Yeah, he ain't had no money. He was really
right.
unintelligent.
Hold on. I'm saying, like, once he realized he was in that neighborhood, then it's just everybody next to him is black. So it's kind of easy. Mm-hmm. You know, he probably knew, like, back in his mind, like, yeah, these niggas, you know what I mean? Nobody really worried about that.
I think only one of the victims were white, or maybe 2 of them were white.
I think the first
and the last.
For sure,
first and the last was white. Mm-hmm. This gentleman was the Asian. Young man was Asian.
And then a whole lot of black people.
And like 14 out of the 17 was black. And I think that might be just like a neighborhood thing, or maybe I'm giving him credit that he don't deserve. Maybe he did.
And I think there was. I saw at least one Hispanic victim he had as well.
Yeah, one Hispanic
black and brown victims. I mean,
so it's like a proximity crime. It's not.
That's what I was thinking.
That's what I think. I think most crimes are crimes of proximity.
They didn't show, like, from at least what I saw in those 10. I didn't see no racism from him. It didn't seem like he had any racism in him. He actually accused his grandma of being racist at one point, which I thought was interesting. Like, because then one of his victims was in the grandma's house, and then she came downstairs when he was like drugged, and she sat next to him the whole night.
Oh, yes. Do you think?
And he said something about, like, why don't you send him home? Or he said something. He implied something about the grandma being racist, but she's the one sitting next to him, making sure he's all right while he's sleeping. In quotes.
Well, 2 things could be true. She could not really fuck with black people, and at the same time realize there's something really, really wrong with the situation here.
Right here, yeah.
He's like, it's like, hey, I might not really fuck with black people, but that doesn't mean I want a dead black person in my home.
Yeah.
And I don't trust my grandson to properly take care of him because there's something obviously wrong with my grandson.
That's one of the guys who lived in the end.
Exactly.
Right. I think, like, with Jeffrey, like, I think what it is he got away with it because of white privilege, obviously.
Yeah.
But, like, so I think white privilege doesn't specifically target black people, but black people are victims of it. And I think that's exactly what happened. It was like Jeffrey, probably, like he said, he fell in love with Tony, for example, and all these men he was seducing, back to his home, and having sex with, I think, many of them.
Yes.
So I don't think you could be racist, have sex with them.
I think you could, but I don't think in his case it was. I think it really was a matter of proximity because if you remember, He was going to the white clubs at first, and he got kicked out because remember he was going to those sex hotels,
bathhouses, yeah,
and he was only bringing white people at the time,
right?
And because he got caught drugging them, and there was problems and issues, Buddy kicked him out, and he told him like, "Hey, I'm going to tell the other one, so you can't go to none of these anymore." Yeah. Then he kept on losing his job. And then he had to live in a poor neighborhood.
Because I guess he was a sex offender. I think that's what the series kind of implies. After he got out with the molestation,
exactly,
he had to live in this low income,
which happened to be a black neighborhood.
Right.
And so that I think, I don't think he did that on purpose. Now it is a racial thing with the police. I think the way the police handled it
was
that's completely racist. And how they handled gay people was completely homophobic.
Hell yeah. 1990, like, gay people were considered...
pariah.
Pariah. Like, just...
That's a strong word. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, like, you cause HIV on yourself. This is God's punishment. HIV is the gay disease. Fucking, shit like that. So I could definitely see that's a perfect storm of this nigga Jeffrey could literally, or metaphorically, eat off this narrative.
Yo, it was crazy.
I don't know how he was eating people. That's just nasty. He was chopping them up and eating them like they're real food.
And that goes back to the roadkill thing. Because he loved the feel of the heart and the liver and the kidneys of these animals. It was the first thing. It became sexual.
Yeah, he tried to dig up somebody's grave to be next to the bones. But he got stuck. He couldn't dig it up.
Yeah.
Do you think, like, so most of us, right, the way we think is considered normal in general in society. Is it that he just had a bad brain? Like, they wanted to study the brain at the end, but the dad didn't allow it. But was he normal, but his scale of normal was just far removed from most of society?
No, yeah, he was normal.
He was normal, right?
No way.
He's not normal.
He's abnormal. His process, his thought processing is not normal.
Which is true, but what the judge said because the mom wanted to do it, the dad said no, and I don't recall fully of what the judge said, except that there is a natural inclination for us to want to study people's brains, but oftentimes it amounts to nothing. Oftentimes, because this has been done before, and we don't find anything that says, okay, this is the gene we've isolated that makes you a serial murderer. Yeah. So then what's the purpose?
I think the judge should have allowed it. I think the judge made the correct ruling because I don't know the specific law, but just because Jeff had in his will that he wanted to be cremated, you cremate the whole body, you don't preserve the brain. But, it would have been nice to be able to study his brain and see if you could learn something.
But to what end?
Yeah,
because if we've done this before and we've not yielded no results, then to what end?
Keep going, man. I'm sure the concussion research in the NBA, it took time to make breakthroughs and understand concussion and its impact. Keep studying the brain, man. What I was thinking is, when is the next time you're going to have a serial killer, someone with 10 bodies or more, that you have and they're dead and you have an opportunity to examine the brain? I was thinking it might be the correct ruling, but it's an opportunity that you're not going to see very often. It's not like every week, not even every year, every 10 years, the judge isn't going to get a criminal defendant who's deceased, who has the body count that Jeff has, or even close to it. So then, he's not going to see that very often.
So then
it's a rare opportunity.
Got you. But then do you think that no matter how he was raised, he would have ended up the exact same way?
Who, Jeff?
Yes. Him or anybody?
I can't say no matter how he was raised, because there's a lot of people who are raised in fucked up situations and parents doing drugs that a parent don't like. There's a lot of everybody who's raised in a fucked up situation doesn't become a serial killer. So I can't just say no.
But I think like studying his brain doesn't do anything because you have the people who come and interview them. That's their job, the behavioral analyst.
That's not studying the brain.
That's studying the brain processes. So like we can't just go around studying everyone's brain that kills multiple people. We just can't do that. One, that's resource intensive, and two, it doesn't.
No, it's not resource intensive.
It does, because let me tell you what. Say for example, we find out that if you have this part of the brain is enlarged that makes you want to have a compulsion to kill people. So then what do we do with that information? We do MRIs on the entire country?
First you got to do the research so you have the knowledge and you can make a decision, make an informed decision.
But then how do you do that? He asked a great question. Do you do an MRI on the entire country?
On the entire country. Everybody who has this part of the brain that may cause you to kill people, we're going to put you in jail. Pre-cause. We're going to have the Minority Report. They go to Minority Report movie. We think you're going to be able to commit this crime because of this, so we're going to put you in jail to prevent that crime. It doesn't. That's what I'm trying to say. Even in the show, you said, for example, we may not see this again. Another serial killer, John Wayne Gacy, the clown that they showed.
They did that.
He killed 30 people,
and they dissected his brain. I believe he was the person that they talked about. He talked about some serial killer whose brain that they did dissect, and it yielded nothing.
Oh yeah,
one brain.
He killed 30.
You could have studied two brains.
He killed twice as much people as Jeffrey.
But he's not the only person.
There's mad niggas.
No, there's plenty of people's brains we've dissected to try to figure out.
Study all the brains of serial killers.
But not just serial killers. Not just serial killers. Then what? Rapists, thieves, everybody.
Sure. Study everybody brain.
So then
the extreme criminals. Yes.
But then you suggest that it is more nature than nurture that why we do the things that we do. I think it's a combination.
Of course.
I think it's a combination. So I think you could look at the brain, you can say that, okay, there was something strange here in Jeffrey Dahmer, but then that doesn't mean you could predict that he's going to be a serial killer.
And what if you study the brain and you find a location, whatever, you can identify it. Now what if you can create a medicine that helps reduce that issue? You might be able to target it and fix it.
But what I'm saying is like that already exists, number one, right? That's the psychology of antidepressants and
But I don't know if they had that back then in the 70s or he was killing them. He was doing the murders in the 90s, right?
Yeah, and they for sure had that.
You think they had that in the 90s?
For sure.
I don't know, man. This is another golden opportunity to do more research and try to expand science.
Fuck these people, bro.
It's not even that. Yeah. It's just you're not what you think you're going to get from it. You're just.
But
not
how do you
going
know?
To
Like you're saying, don't even try. Because what if we said that about so many other things? Like why try? Why try?
No, it's not about why try. We are already trying.
Or we already know what the results. The results will be fruitless. Why even make the effort?
Because it's not just dissecting the brain.
Yeah.
We already are dissecting the brain. We are not
frogs.
No,
we have an infinite amount of frog brains we can dissect.
No,
how many serial killer brains do we have to dissect?
You're not listening.
Do we have as many serial killer brains as frog brains that we can dissect and analyze? Right? That's another one you could have dissected and analyzed.
We are already dissecting the human brain.
How many serial killer brains do we have?
It's not going to matter.
Of course it matters.
It's not.
Yes, it does. If this frog is the only frog that jumps 40 feet up in the air, I want to see that brain. So don't just say, because I've dissected a different frog.
All right, so that same logic you just said, apply it to a human being. So now we should dissect the highest jumping human being's brain to see why that person...
The serial killers... Yes.
You just said the
serial killer.
Got you. But you just said the highest jumping frog.
Yes. So if this frog is so different,
should we study LeBron's brain?
Exactly.
I said serial killers. Serial killer.
Got you. But you just said a highest jumping frog, which is not.
And my analogy was for the serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer's.
My point is the analogy doesn't hold. You can't. You can't.
Why not? I'm talking about serial killers
and jumping frogs.
Yes.
I don't
All right, fuck it. If it was a serial killing frog, fuck a jumping frog.
There you go.
If it's a serial killing frog, let's study that frog's brain, okay?
I mean, whatever. I guess there's nothing.
To me, that's a completely ridiculous point. It doesn't hold. But I do understand what you're saying. Maybe just having more analysis of these people, which they do. Like, there's a show on Netflix called Mindhunter, which studies. It's about the people who study these killers. And like their methods and why they do it and blah, blah, blah. I think Jeffrey Dahmer is on there, John Wayne Gacy, the black serial killer in Atlanta that a lot of people don't really talk about, who's killing kids.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he was killing, I think he was like the most prolific, they said. A black serial killer in Atlanta. I forgot that nigga's name, but shout out to him.
What?
Shout out to him, but I don't know.
Take a seat.
You
got to take a seat.
But I mean, just like that show is really good. Mindhunter is another kind of good show.
So let me tell you about something that I just recently heard. There was this mom. She was driving in a car with her 2 little girls. There's an older girl, and then there was a baby, like, let's say 2 years old, and the older girl, let's say 7 years old. And for absolutely no reason, the 7-year-old is beating on the baby. Beating. The mom turns around and was like, yo, don't you know that you're hurting your 2-year-old daughter? And she responds unemotionally, yes. And she had absolutely no remorse for having done so. So what that mom did was take her to see a psychologist so she could take some type of therapy because she could be a sociopath.
Yes.
So my point,
and we should study her brain too. I'm fucking with you.
yeah, I don't know how bad that sounds, but yeah, I think that's the what we do, because for whatever reason she is whatever she is, and I think now when we're of a time where it's way more important to take care of our mental health, our mental well-being. I think as a parent or as any individual, when you notice some what you would think is a strange characteristic of someone, especially your child, and yeah, I think it's never too early to start putting them in some kind of psychotherapy, because you don't want a Jeffrey Dahmer, you don't want a Wayne Gacy, you don't want that black guy in Atlanta.
Yeah, in Atlanta. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I think that's difficult for parents to maybe hear, like, yo, your kid may be a sociopath.
That is tough.
You know, that's tough to hear, and it's tough to deal with. I mean, somebody's kid is a sociopath, so somebody's kid needs therapy. So those two things, they exist. So if you see the signs of that, your child.
How do we know the signs? Have we studied the brain?
A pediatric psychiatrist.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
A pediatric
you don't
psychologist.
Need, and it's not and another thing about why you're saying is completely wrong. And there's the distinction. It's not the brain. It's the mind. There's a distinction between the brain and the mind. The brain is the physical thing. The mind is the thing that we are yet to fully understand, and that's why we have psychotherapists. That's why we have neuroscientists.
All of them. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, it's not the brain. It's mostly the mind, which we really don't understand.
We haven't put that together yet.
We have not put that.
So it's okay to study the mind, but not the brain.
Yeah, because the person is living, and you see the person. You see what the what's the word I'm looking for? The symptoms are.
I say just study both.
We do study both.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
yeah. Both
except for serial killers.
No, we study. I don't know. I don't know why you keep doing that, but we for sure do study them.
How sorry should we? Speaking of like the mind and his psychology, how sorry should we feel for Jeffrey or serial killers in general?
I don't know that we can, and I don't know that we should. So a lot of the victims in particular, they're not okay with this Netflix series. They weren't okay with the dad trying to make a book about what happened. They're not okay with a lot of things, having to relive this, and there be not any just compensation for them. They sued the city, and I think they got $850,000 that they had to split. Yeah. And then the memorabilia from Jeffrey Dahmer, things that should not be memorabilia because they made him into a celebrity. Some random rich guy bought it all and then split the money, and I think that was $300,000 that they had to split. So no amount of money is worth your loved one, but in the grand scheme of what they should be getting as compensation, they got nowhere near it.
But should we feel sympathy for these? Because we believe, I guess we all agree that Jeffrey had a psychological.
Yeah,
something was wrong with him, right?
Jeffrey and other serial killers. Should we? I say this because I remember during the Uvalde shooting in Uvalde, Texas, the kid killed, I don't know how many people.
Was that 19?
19.
What, two teachers and 17 students?
So later on, the mom was like walking to her car, like maybe like a week later, and then like all the victim parents was like surrounding her car, like, you did this.
Which mom? Who was walking to
the shooter's mom?
Oh, the shooter's mom
was walking to her car, and then the victims of the victims' parents were walking around. You did this. And
they were blaming her for raising the child.
I'm gonna tell you. Oh, she was walking to her car, and then so they are just like, you did this. It's your fault. It's your fault. She's like, it's not my fault. And then she said, like kind of like have mercy on him. And
no.
Yeah, they went crazy. God,
are you?
Bitch, blah, 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 blah. So she started crying and shit. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, don't be crying now. But then I was thinking like, damn, it's not her fault.
It's not
You
her
know what I'm
fault.
saying?
No, it's not her fault.
Yeah, even in the Dahmer's film, you had the mother, the biological mother of Jeffrey, when she went to that black family.
Oh, she fucked up. That was stupid.
And
That was. I don't know what she
she's
thought.
like, I want you to come to court and testify on behalf of Jeffrey.
Lady, suck my dick.
Whoa,
Fuck outta here.
are you fucking crazy?
Yeah, I don't. She didn't think that one
I know that's
through
your son.
whatsoever.
You gonna go hard for your son, but don't come here.
Oh
No.
my god.
That's very fucking stupid.
That was stupid.
Whoa.
That was very dumb. But then, like again, with like the Uvalde, do we feel bad for these people? Like
For the
parent,
for
sure.
the shooter.
for both. For the parent, do we feel bad for
The
Jeffrey
parent for sure.
Yeah, the parents
for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on how the parents raised the child. I have to know a little bit more.
Well, we know the Jeffrey Dahmer situation.
Yeah.
Based
We feel
off
bad
of
for the parents.
Like if you take the Netflix to be fact, just
Yeah.
going straight off of that, yeah, I feel sorry for
I
them.
mean, because it's not a documentary. I'm sure
Of course.
they made some scenes
just
more excited.
It's a hypothetical. Hypothetically, you're taking this to be completely fact. That's exactly Jeffrey Dahmer's parents. Do you feel sorry for the parents?
The dad, yes, he tried. In my opinion, he tried. He tried a lot for his son. The mom, yes, also. I mean, she had depression and she didn't know about it. She didn't know how to treat herself, how to get better. She did the best she could. Eventually, she got well before she tried to commit suicide later in life. But yeah, I feel sympathy for the parents. Yes.
I have the same. I
And the
agree,
grandma.
but for not completely different reasons, but for different reasons. I think that despite all of their actions and despite all of their shortcomings, they could not foresee Jeffrey Dahmer being Jeffrey Dahmer.
And he was lying to them the whole time. I mean, maybe they shouldn't have believed him, or they got to verify his stuff more. But he lied to them. They didn't know.
I mean,
He lied to them all the time.
Who would think
But
that
who would- yeah.
their son is drilling holes into people's heads
Exactly.
and pouring acid? So
Yeah, 'cause
that's never happened in the history
when
that we're aware of.
when he went to trial for the 14-year-old, and then the father confronts him and is like, Jeffrey, why did you molest this little boy? The dad believed him. The dad believed the victim.
Yeah.
He said, why did you molest this 14-year-old boy? So once Jeff starts talking nonsense again, nigga, you better hire some private detectives to follow him. Don't take his word no more. He needs to earn it. No trust.
That's extreme as hell.
That's
Hell yeah, you hire a private detective
if-
on your child.
If you knew your son was murdering, you would turn in your son? If you knew your son was a serial killer?
Yes. Hell yeah.
Serial killer, yeah, I gotta say, yeah.
Serial killer?
Serial
Yeah.
killer,
Hell yeah. Especially actual knowledge, yes. Hell yeah.
like he out here Jeffrey Dahmering, yeah.
Yeah. What if your son, if they say like,
Like if he in the streets, that's something
yeah,
different.
if he's in the streets and he kills somebody and it's on the news like,
If
please
he-
help us find.
If he El Chapo, nah.
No, I'm saying like he did like a hit and run. And the news was like, please help us find the owner of this white Camaro, whatever.
Nah, I can't do it. I'm not even finna hold you. I'm not finna do it. Nah.
All right. What if he killed a kid in a hit and run? No.
God, forgive me, Lord, but nah.
Yeah, ain't doing it.
Nah, I ain't doing it. You?
No. I'm even thinking, honestly, with serial killing.
Whoa, not even, you gonna be like the father here, all the way to the end, trying to fix your son.
Serial killing is, serial killing is a lot. That's a lot. But if you, I don't know, dog.
Like you can't be Jeffrey Dahmer and you can't be Wayne Gacy
you
and
can't be doing shit like that.
shit like that. If you on some type of shit like that,
You gotta cut him off at some point.
ain't no cutting him off. It's like, yo, you need to be somewhere, bro.
Yeah, send him to Nigeria or something. Well, that's more black.
So he
people,
can
right?
do that.
That's more
So he
black
can do what he
people.
said.
No,
Yeah, let him
that's
try
too
the
much.
homosexuality and pick up on gay guys, and it
No.
won't work well.
Yeah, it won't work well.
It will work plenty well. There's plenty gay Nigerians.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, actually, it might
Don't
work-
do that in Nigeria.
It might
dude.
work
It's,
even better.
it's way plenty gay Nigerians in
It might
Nigeria.
work even better.
That police man, he might have a hard time.
Not anymore. It's a different Nigeria.
Yeah, it might be. And then they say he was an attractive guy, so it might work in his favor. But if it was my kid, shit, I don't know. I don't know.
That's crazy. I think, man.
I mean, I'll turn it.
What do you think is the purpose of Netflix showing this?
Yeah, that's something my girlfriend was asking. Like, are they romanticizing murderers? And they got a couple murder documentaries on Netflix. I've watched a few of them. I mean, I guess it's educational. People don't have to watch if they don't approve. You don't have to watch. Get on Netflix and watch something different. Or get on Hulu. But if you're choosing to watch and you're choosing to put your money behind it, your time behind it, you make this thing number one on Netflix, I mean, that's your choice.
But I guess not about choice. I guess people probably feel bad because of the victims. It's like he was, we know him as this monster, and then they're kind of like humanizing him. Like, so you almost feel a bit sorry for Jeffrey that he fucking drilled a hole into your brother's head.
I don't know. The humanizing, I think, is good because it's showing a full story. Instead of,
I'm not going to lie. I actually agree with you.
It's showing a full story of the guy, not just, demonize him or whatever. But it's difficult, but I think it's good that you get context. You see his relationship with his dad, his relationship with his grandma.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I like full context. Mm-hmm. And for me, it made me think about, like when I said I don't think the father was showing him the value of life, I never thought about that before. Mm-hmm. Now, if I ever have kids, if I don't hunt, but if I were to ever learn to hunt, or if I were to ever go fishing, or if I'm have a reason to clean a whole chicken, or if I'm barbecuing, I now know that I want to talk to my kids about the value of life. Of it, yeah. The purpose of doing things and not just purposelessly doing things. I don't want it to be for just some bullshit reason. And so that they take it and not appreciate what we're doing. And I don't think that what Netflix is doing. Like, I don't think Netflix is out here. Obviously, they're a business.
Yeah, so they're trying to make money.
They're trying to make money. You know what I mean? They're trying to make money. But I don't think it's just that. There's some value into it.
Yeah, and then also with this story, the few, and it's not like, I'm talking about the utilitarian, the few parents, the few victims, families, versus the masses who could be interested in the story. Mm-hmm. Do you not publish it? Do you not create and produce this movie or documentary or miniseries because of the few?
Yeah, I get you. Like, the benefits of the many outweigh the requirements of the few. So
is it good for people to know about this versus not offending a few people?
But I think
maybe you give them a cut of the money if you make money. Right?
You know they make money. This shit is it broke the record like over Squid Games of the most watched show.
So maybe they should give them a cut of the money.
Something maybe.
Something
Who
like
knows?
That.
I mean, Netflix not doing that.
Yeah, they ain't gonna do that.
Yeah, they probably won't.
I do think sometimes there's times where it's kind of, I don't know if they romanticize him. Like, he got made fun of. Well, he actually in school he was actually kind of like, he was weird, but he wasn't like rejected by his school mates. Like the cool kid with the football jacket was like, "Yo, Jeffrey, do that weirdo impression again."
Right, and
so
he did it.
He did it, and he
didn't realize that they were mocking him though.
No, I thought he was laughing with him.
I think they were laughing with him.
Towards the end, they started mocking.
At the end,
because then he started doing some weird shit.
Yeah,
because he was like, then he wanted to show him the roadkill, and Buddy was like, "No, I don't want to do this." Exactly. Now, on to our brother here, Life Jennings, who used this situation, I think, for complete clout chasing. Go ahead, show this.
Did you want to set it up for us, or just kind of?
Nah, play it.
Let's play it. All right, I got you.
So, dude, I used to run across dude all the time because he wanted cigarettes. He used to trade stuff for little cigarettes while he was down there, right? So, like I said, I was a porter. In case y'all don't know how I worked, the porter is the cat that just cleaned the railings and the floor, mop and sweep. I was real young then, so they let me out, to do my thing. And of course, while I'd be sweeping up, I'd be singing. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times the cats used to have requests or whatever while I was down there doing my thing. And then one particular day, I walked past the thing, and he was, Jeffrey was like, hey. Okay, when he was like, yo, that's you down there singing? I'm like, yo, yeah, it was me down there singing. You see me down there, man. So he was like, I like R&B. I'm like, you like R&B? He's like, yeah. I was all right, cool. Ain't think none of it. Went back and locked down in my cell. So then I started yelling out to the homie through the door, and he was asking me, y'all never guess what song he asked me did I know. Men Conditions, Breaking My Heart, Pretty Brown Eyes, man. He asked did I know that record. And I sang the record. He beat it on the door and all this stuff. I mean, I ain't.
All right, nigga.
Hey, bro. Hey, Cuz called him Lil Homie.
Yeah, Lil Homie. Yeah, Life Jennings is
Bruh.
Did he put music on his audio?
No, that was me playing the song that that it was.
We had to add sauce to it.
But that's a great song, by the way. Like,
love that song.
That's a great song. I mean, with Jeffrey, man, we'll play this song in the background.
Yeah, let it play in the background.
This is a good song, and they was first saying like Life Jennings was a liar, blah blah blah, but it's kind of been proven to be true. Like, this song came out in '91. Life Jennings was at the time they referenced it, and it was like it is possible that the two could have intersected,
which is fine.
Yeah,
and I don't have a problem. Matter of fact, I don't even really have a problem with him telling a story, because I think it's just in the framing of your story. If you're like, yo, man, this documentary came out, and then I remember I actually was in a cell with him, and I didn't know who Jeffrey Dahmer was at the time. I didn't know that he was this monster. Jeffrey, my experience, and this was my experience with him. I couldn't believe that he would ask me to do this, like, and I could not just believe that this person was this monster at the same time. But instead of telling the story in that way, he just tell the story like he was just talking about some dude, like my homie, my old friend, my old buddy, Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah,
and
but
so now it feels like you're clout chasing in the hype of this show.
Absolutely.
But if they were friends and he called him Lil Homie, I think that's appropriate. Because Jeffrey did have relationships with some people. I mean, they don't show it all. But this guy, if what he's saying is true, that Jeffrey can form friendships with people, then I don't see anything wrong with him talking about it. I mean, I wouldn't advise it, but it's appropriate.
So think about it like this. You said you would completely cut off your kid. Now, this dude has no familiarity. By familiarity, I mean no relative familiarity. I can't even say the word. Yeah, they ain't relatives. They ain't no kin. Yeah. So why, and now years later, what I refer to him as my little homie, even if he really was my friend. Yo, you become a serial murderer and you were eating people. I'm not going to refer to you. Yeah, my friend used to. I'm going to be like,
but
yo,
he
Jack.
had friends, I think.
What's your point?
But even I don't think they was friends. But like, I think
exactly
what he did is like, what is the purpose of this story?
Does he have an album dropping soon?
No, he just put it up because it's popular. He's like, I sang this song to Jeffrey.
It's clout.
I think this is like the problem with the Netflix thing, like the humanization of it. Because now we're giving Jeffrey almost full context, almost like he was like, when you hear like, he like Mint Condition, Breaking My Heart, you'd be like, me too.
Yeah,
I like that song. That is a good song.
It's a great song.
So I mean, I don't kill people on the weekend and pick niggas up from clubs, but that song I can relate to. So on that level, me and Jeffrey
we have something in common.
We are simpatico. We are the same on that. So that's what I think. If I was a victim, I'm like, all right, Netflix already giving this nigga so much, filling in details that may have never happened.
Maybe,
for example.
yeah, exactly.
And now we got random people saying, oh, Jeffrey
he was kind. He was this.
Handsome.
He likes my music and
he
all
likes
that shit.
Music that we all relate to, and he was beating on the walls, and so he's just a regular guy. Just kill people. 17 of them.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe he was a regular guy, but he had a chemical imbalance that he didn't know how to address. And unfortunately, he act like the dad had the chemical imbalance, what the dad confesses. Yeah. But his dad didn't act on it.
But imagine like this nigga kill your older brother or your older cousin, whatever, and then you're like, everybody's like, yo, we're sorry that happened, but Jeffrey cool as fuck, dog. Trust me. Like, you don't really know this side of him. But he's super funny.
That's how that's how all these killers and murderers and dictators and shit, they got families, they got friends, they got personal relationships. If you ever been friends with some nigga doing shit in the street, he might be doing something in the street, but you know, y'all hang out, he's a cool dude. But he just does shit.
But it's the framing in it. If I have no issue with you telling a story about anybody, even if they were a horrible person. But once you're putting that story out there, frame it in such that you are sensitive to the fact that who this person was, no matter who the human being was. When you frame it in the way, in my opinion, Life Jennings does, I can only see it as you clout chasing because there's a hype over this Netflix show. Like that, and now he has a response. He's like, "Oh man, my bad. I was just trying to tell a story. This is what my bad. I ain't really mean to call him the little homie. Whatever." And it's like, bro, take full accountability for what you did, bro. It was a fuck up. It was a fuck up. I mean, I don't know that you meant to do it. I can't say that you meant to do it. You're not like the next motherfucker who I want to talk about who's for sure clout chasing.
Kanye
Motherfucking West.
Yeah.
Oh shit, that White Lives Matter shit.
Yes. What's up with that?
Nigga, I was just guessing Kanye and I was correct.
Yeah.
This nigga is weird as fuck, dude.
I actually think like we're post Kanye antics, like to be upset about it. I saw it. I was just like, he's just dumb.
He's just Kanye being Kanye.
Yeah, but it's even before that. Like I thought it's all attention seeking and blah blah blah.
You saw he had an interview on Fox News with Tucker Carlson.
I saw that, and then Tucker Carlson was looking like, huh? Yeah, like because he asked him like, why do white lives matter? And then
he had some weird answers.
Because they do, and Tucker Carlson was like,
but why?
Yeah, like well, yeah, I agree, obviously. So then he asked him about like then he was saying because abortion kills 50% of black death is from abortion. Tucker Carlson was looking like, nigga, I don't think that's true.
That's kind of high.
Yeah, he was like, I don't think that's true, but like I'm on the Republican side, so obviously I'm gonna rock with everything. I'm gonna just let you rock. But he like that's not true. That's not true. But I'm just let you say whatever. So when I saw the White Lives Matter shit, I was like, Kanye, this don't even.
So I saw something where he said that it was a gut instinct and a connection to God and his brilliance, and that was the purpose of the White Lives Matter.
No.
Yeah, Bill Maher spoofed him really well on real time with Bill Maher.
Yeah.
He was talking about like other Kanye West T-shirts that Kanye should put out. And one of them was like, George Bush does care about black people.
That would actually be funny.
Yeah.
I think when you think about those moments, I think all those moments are just self-serving. Just the George Bush doesn't care about black people. I don't think Kanye even meant that at that moment. It was just like, this is an attention-seeking moment, the Taylor Swift moment.
I think he needs medicine. He doesn't take his medicine.
Number one, yeah, that's for sure.
That's a problem. But he said it messes with his creativity, right? He can't create the music and stuff.
Nigga, you still can't create it now. You haven't made a good song in 5 years.
Isn't he doing clothes right now instead? Clothing line?
Clothing as well.
So he said it messes with his creativity.
I don't like his clothes.
Sure.
Shit.
I like the shoes. I won't lie to you. I like the shoes.
I don't like none of his
another
clothes.
thing I was thinking about, I heard somebody say, like, you can be a genius at one thing and not another.
Exactly.
Like, you could be
They don't always transfer.
Yeah, you could be good at mathematics and have very, very poor social skills.
That's most people.
Like you could be very, very good at the designing that he is, the clothes, the shoes, and music, and just, he even said, like, I don't read books.
That's dumb.
He said, I don't read books. It's just, like, books is a waste of time, and I don't read books. Books is for losers or whatever. Like, that's dumb. That's objectively stupid.
That is dumb.
Well, I saw someone I heard someone who, like, in e-commerce, she says she doesn't read stuff about it. She just talks to other people and she gets their information. She'll talk to you if you're talking about something. She learns it from you. I think people should read.
Yes.
Yeah, 1,000%.
I mean, it's not like people read anyways. On average, Americans read less than one book a year. True. So it's not like people are reading anyways.
And most people are not.
Yeah,
bright.
most people I think the average American has a
bright.
5th grade education.
Yeah.
So you see the two lining up right there. For Kanye to be like, I actively choose not to read. I want contracts that are not more than 1 page.
Honestly, we are a victim of Kanye's success.
1 page.
Yeah.
We are.
I'd say it's good to have simple contracts. It's just at his level, he might want a little bit more.
No. I don't think you're even.
But simple contracts are good.
You're not fully appreciating the point. He wants a 1-page contract because he thinks it is that simple.
Is that
no, it's not. It's not that simple.
Of course not.
No, Kanye.
Not at all.
What's the font on your 1-page contract?
Come on, now.
He's ridiculous.
Yeah, he is.
That's why I said we are victims of his success. It's because he's so successful. He just feels like he could do anything. I could just say whatever, and it's all good. And then I saw a picture of Candace Owens rocking it. Now I'm like,
Candace.
Now she's just the ultimate clout chaser.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
like, what's the point of that?
To me, Candace, Tucker, like Kanye, they want to be contrarians for contrarian's sake. It's
right.
Like, I want to be against all of us, the sheep, just for the fact that I'm against the sheep.
Right.
Now, when I'm on this other side, I don't even care what the other side is. I just want to be on the other side.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like
a rebel with no cause.
Yeah, with no cause. It's like when
That's
he's like
funny.
when the Black Lives Matter they failed us. It's like you could talk about the organization,
Sure. Yeah.
because they stole money and sure, but
Fine.
the movement is completely separate from that.
Completely separate
Come
from
on,
it.
Kanye, dog.
And I never understood why we don't separate the two.
Nah, come on, man. Like that.
And that
shit
should be
is-
obvious.
Kanye, that nigga's just
He Kanye and just
I
Kanye.
hate that nigga, man.
I never listened to his music.
Jeffrey Dahmer should have got that nigga. No, that
What was
been,
Kanye? Was Kanye in Milwaukee in 1992?
Nah.
Nah, he's
probably a kid.
he was in Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago. Yeah,
He was in
close,
Chicago. Close enough.
close by.
Close by.
But Kanye wouldn't be visiting gay clubs.
We don't know that.
Oh, you don't know?
We don't know that.
Did South
Before
Park
he
say
got Kim?
He's a gay fish. Did you ever see that South Park episode?
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
So he probably.
What's a gay fish?
You gotta ask South Park. It's a very, very funny kind of random episode. I don't
Super
know.
random.
Something I wanted to ask you guys. What's SWAC?
What?
SWAC?
That's the conference that the HBCUs are in.
Oh, is that it? Because I saw that on Instagram. That nigga was the football player. He got upset.
Oh, you talking about Deion Sanders?
Yeah,
right?
Dion.
What was he got? What he got upset about?
It's just like the HBCU. He played. I don't even know why we're talking.
Said,
about
I ain't SWAC. Who's SWAC?
I don't even
If
know
I
how we
ain't
got to
SWAC?
this.
Yeah, this is a random
this is very
question, but
random, yeah.
because I know nothing about it, I now want to hear it. Go
SWAC
ahead.
is just like like you know how Division I is all the big schools.
Yeah.
SWAC is all the HBCU schools.
Okay.
So he beat another team, and he was saying Dion ain't a part of our league. He's big time. He's not HBCU.
So that's what he meant when he said that. Because you ain't see it. So Dion beat somebody, and then they went to half court to shake their hands. The guy did a little shaking, and he didn't want to hug up and shit. And then Dion kind of pushed him, and it was all over IG.
Is it?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then in the post preference, the losing coach, he said Dion's not SWAC. He's not really one of us. And Dion's like, if I'm not SWAC, who is?
Is it?
That's all.
That's the issue.
SWAC is the Southwestern Atlantic Conference. That
And they
has
just
nothing
posted
to
it
do
everywhere.
with Kanye West or Jeffrey Dahmer. But sure.
I was just curious.
Yeah, no, I get you.
I guess, yeah. Maybe he's clout chasing too. Who
All right.
knows?
You got anything else about Jeffrey or Kanye or
I mean, I always thought Kanye was weird, so.
Kanye is weird.
Do we have any shameless responses?
No. That's like if somebody has a comment and they want us to talk about it.
Yeah.
Do you have any? Anybody got anybody? That's something we ain't did in a while.
Yeah. If not, I actually do have one. If you don't, I know Peter's saying you did.
I mean, all these are just about the Dahmers.
Dahmer thing,
The Dahmer stuff is not something separate from Dahmer.
All right, go ahead. With
I
yours,
had
Jay.
one. It was well, it doesn't matter the name, but it was effectively about like how straight men, how men in general, why men don't have friends.
Don't have friends.
Because
yeah.
they don't have podcasts.
Yes, all men should have podcasts. No, but it was just like how like the epidemic of men now don't have male counterparts that they can speak to about anything.
That's not true.
It is. It was just like I'm gonna show you the actual articles from Vox. Vox has this study about like how the majority of men, I think it said 4 out of 5 men.
There are books that have been coming out talking about the problems with men
Yeah.
in society right now.
Men and friends. You keep going. I'll bring it around.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard about the conversations about men not getting laid, and because women are graduating from going and graduating more, they're getting higher income, and then women typically wanting someone with more income than them, same level or more, and then they're not getting the younger guys.
Wait, hold up. I thought we were talking about men having friends.
Men having friends. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And it's called the male friendship recession. So it says that 1 in 5 single men say they have no close friendships, which could lead to obviously all kind of shit and loneliness and blah, blah, blah.
You said 1 in 5?
1 in 5. So 20% of all single men have no.
Single? Like, if you're in a relationship, does that change something?
Yeah, you have a. Oh, well, yeah. Well, maybe it doesn't. That's a good point. But it says 1 in 5 single men say they have no close friendships.
Are they talking about men and women friendship or close friendship with another guy?
I think it's about other men.
So talking about relationships shouldn't matter in my opinion. If it's yeah, that wouldn't matter.
And there's another more reasons why men are less likely to share their personal feelings with friends. Men don't go out together normally with friends for wellness retreats.
Well, so let me ask you something.
Wellness retreat.
The person who brought that up to you, do they believe that men don't have friends?
She saw the article and just wondered what we thought about it.
I reject the premise of the article. Now, if you said 1 out of 5, I don't know that statistic. I can't speak on it because I only communicate and socialize with my friends. So all of my friends have a friend, obviously, because I am their friend. So I don't know.
Would you say all your friendships are strong, or most of them are strong?
No, that's a good question. For me, yes, but I tend to hang with the same people over and over again. Mm-hmm. So, but I do have a lot of friends, or I don't even know if I should define them as friends. I do have a lot of associates.
Associates, you're right.
Yeah, people I rarely see. I might see them once a year, if that.
I think it's speaking about strong friendships. Close, strong friendships.
Yeah, like I would count you guys as strong friends. Yeah. We go to weddings together. We go out of town together.
But do you think the relationships that we have is a normal thing?
I don't think so.
That I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Amongst men.
But we've known each other all our lives. I don't think there's many people who have that.
Right.
So
that's what I think we're hinting at.
Yeah, maybe. But again, on my other groups of friends, there's plenty I didn't actually grow up with, but we're still I think we're close friends. You know, I've been groomsmen in some of their weddings, and I think unless God forbid something bad happens, we're probably going to be lifelong friends. Like I have friends from law school, and I started law school in 2014. So I think from law school, I have a handful of what are likely lifelong friends.
Yeah, when I look on Facebook or whatever, a lot of times I identify friends from where I found them. I still have some friends from high school or I don't know. I mean, middle school is still high school because it was right next door to each other. And then like undergrad, friends from my time in the Army, or specifically the Army band, friends from my time in the infantry in the Army, friends from law school.
How many of these friends do you think you can be close with and share personal kind of mental health or?
I mean, when I was law school, I talked to everybody. Everybody.
Right.
I'm
but
saying,
deep conversations.
I'm talking about deep conversations. Okay. Yes. I talk to every fucking body. I talk to everybody. I didn't really have no specific person. I'm talking from the cafeteria staff to the deans to the professors to my classmates.
No. But are you talking about your mental health? Like, are you talking about what you're going through? Hey, this happened with me and my mom.
So I talk about racist issues in society, stuff that's going on.
But personal things.
That's personal.
Nah.
You think it's superficial?
I don't know if you're purposely not trying to answer the question.
You're talking about emotions?
Yes.
Why can't I talk about racist shit that's happening?
That's not an
emotion?
No.
That's not the question.
What are you talking about?
Emotion.
No, hold on.
Yeah.
That's just not the question.
Yeah, that's not the question.
It doesn't matter whether you can or not. It's just not.
Why the fuck I gotta limit it to how I feel today? I always felt great. There's not even a discussion.
No, but Peter, that's the question that I'm asking.
What am I gonna say? Hey guys, I feel great today. There's no need to talk about it.
With nobody.
With who would you talk about it with?
I'd feel comfortable talking to anybody.
So then you have no close friends.
I don't have close friends. No.
Then you have no close friends.
Yes, that's the point I'm trying to make.
All right,
yes,
so one out of 3 of us.
You can talk about racism to
maybe the statistic is true.
Yes,
then.
any of them. White, black, who? I don't give a fuck.
I'm saying like tough vulnerabilities, emotional.
So I would talk to some of the judges, the professors. I'd say, why the fuck? Or I wouldn't curse with the judge, right? I wouldn't curse with the judges. But I'd come to them as a black man. I'd talk about, I don't care if you're a white judge, a black judge, I don't give a fuck.
Don't say racism, Peter.
No, I wouldn't say racism. I'd say, why are all these officers getting away with these shootings?
You are still purposely not answering the question.
I'm not doing shit on purpose. What are you talking about?
We are not talking about.
Wait, hold on. Isn't that a private conversation? That's a conversation.
No, not whatsoever. We are talking about you, the human being. Who are the people that you go to and talk about your personal problems?
I don't talk about my personal problems too much because I focus on my goals. I don't get in talking about fucking personal problems.
That's their point.
That's the point.
No, but I'm probably different from whatever the fuck they're talking about.
How?
I focus on my goals. I focus on what I'm trying to accomplish.
That did not say that those people do not focus on their goals.
I don't get into all this. Oh, I'm feeling bad. I try to keep myself leveled. I go to the gym. I focus on my goals. I try not to get if I'm sad and I try to stay leveled and focus on my goals.
You know, no matter what you just said does not contradict that article. Like you can just name 100 things that you do.
What I'm saying, that's not a problem, but that's what the article is kind of hinting at, that we have this.
There's a lot of men like you.
For example, who have this. Not
specifically about that fucking feelings and shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. That's their point.
Like the fuck is there? I mean, fucking work, nigga. That's accomplish your fucking goals,
Peter. That's their point.
What the fuck, nigga? I'm healthy. I mean, if I needed therapy, I've gone to therapy multiple times, nigga. Get therapy.
What?
Get therapy if you need therapy.
See, so that contradicts. How you disagreed in the beginning.
What
about this? Male friendship.
Oh yeah, yes.
Recession.
The statistic, but now listening to Peter, the statistic might be correct.
Yeah, you can see it's like people feel like I should just work hard. I can bottle it up, suck that shit up.
I don't need friends to talk to about those issues.
Man, that is just not the right way. Peter,
I don't be fucking talking about that shit. That's a waste of time. Man.
You are the 1 in 5.
Yes, Peter. I don't want you to be the 1 in 5. I want you to talk to.
You can talk to me, man.
Talk to me.
You
if
can
you're
talk
feeling
to me.
down,
I'm good, nigga.
Not you specifically. Well, you specifically, yes.
Yes.
Or anybody.
Any of my friends.
If you
just
feel,
fucking.
If you
work,
think
man.
down, you can't. If you feel like, let's say, fucking suicidal, you can't.
Nah, I'm not talking about fucking suicidal. Work.
Not you. No,
accomplishments.
No.
If a person is suicidal, you can't just.
No, I'm talking to Junior. No, if you are feeling suicidal, I'm not saying do not get professional help. But please talk to me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying you can't just work that out. You can't just I'm gonna just go to the gym and do an extra set today. No. You know what I mean?
I don't know about that exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
No. So please, Peter, talk to me, nigga.
Yes.
About whatever the fuck.
And anybody who considers me a friend, you could talk to me.
Hey, I talk to you if I need to, but I don't.
Yes, well, you need to.
Nah, I'm good, nigga. I don't be talking to people like that.
Damn, bro, that's
you 1 in 5.
Please, though. Everybody,
nah, nigga, I'm good though.
1 in 5.
Everybody, please, all men, women, everybody, just talk to somebody, bro. Please do, man. I hope you guys have a good one. And because if you don't talk to nobody, then Jeffrey Dahmer will get your ass. You know, so
pretty much.
Please do.
And then they're gonna study your brain.
All right, bye.